Welcome everyone to another Equipment Zone educational webinar. We're going to be talking redefining DTG printing. My name is Terry Combs. I'm here with my associate Jeff Morgenthaler. And Matthew Rhome is with DTG Business Development. And Matt held the first patent for a DTG printer back in the 90s. Matt might need to confirm that date for me. But that makes Matt the inventor and OG of DTG, right? Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, what was the date of that patent?
Well, it was filed in August of 1996.
You know, more than one person in this industry has told me that, you know, my wheels started spinning back in the 90s when I went to an impression show and Matt Rhome was there with this little inkjet printer printing on T-shirts, and I think it spurred a lot of folks out there to start thinking, how can I make this work? So I think a few of the companies out there that are still selling DTG printers started from you in that booth at ISS show. It was an ISS show, right?
Yeah, ISS.
Okay.
Back in the old days when they were really ISS.
Yeah, as opposed to Impressions Expo. And
yeah,
everybody's changing their names these days. But
yeah,
but today we're going to talk about the Epson F3070. And Jeff, do you want to jump in with a question for Matt?
Hey, Matt, really appreciate you being here. I know with the launch of this new printer, the 3070, that you are really busy, right?
Yeah.
You have there's a ton of interest out there. And I know that a lot of our clients have been asking about it. And when they, we have a lot of clients, Matt, that have purchased F2100s and are now looking at getting a second or third printer. And now with the 3070 coming out, they're asking us a lot of questions about, what's the difference? And should I be looking at that or another F2100? So before we get started, why don't we watch a short video that Epson has made for it, and then we can go from there.
Sounds great.
All right, we got Jay working in the background. I think he's going to cue this up for us. And he told us before this started that we wouldn't have audio, so Terry and I are going to kind of walk you through it.
For anybody that went to really the last big trade show of the industry, it was the Impressions Expo Long Beach, which was a massive show. They got to see this printer in action. So, we were lucky enough to be right across the aisle to see this new development, and we were pretty amazed.
So in the first part of that video, it looked like it has two print heads, and then it's laying down the white with one of them and following it right up behind it with the CMYK. And now we're looking at the self-adjustment, height adjustment.
And we'll be talking about all these things as we go through the webinar today. I don't recall seeing that ghostly image at the show going from machine to machine, but Jeff and Matt, one of the things that amazed me during that demo of the machine in Long Beach was the fact that not only does this printer print really fast, but you guys were printing a 14:16 image.
Right. A lot of people, they want to show, small images like 10x12s or 12x12s. The machine, it comes with a standard 14:16 Platen. So why don't we show that, how fast it prints at 14:16?
Yeah, and what you showed us at that show, it was printing in under a minute.
Yeah, right at a minute.
And that was a 14:16 image.
14:16,
so pretty incredible.
Yes.
So
yes.
Most of us out there in the world, no matter how big our printer can print, are still printing 10x12. So that's even much faster.
Well, here's the thing. You're going to print two 10x12 images in right at a minute on this machine. Now that's pushing the print button, letting it print, unloading the shirt, load another one, and hit print again. Exactly. So right at a minute, you're going to print two 10x12 prints.
So Matt, obviously speed is one of the big differences between the F3070 and the F2100. What other differences are there?
Well, this webinar is only about an hour long, so we can't discuss all those. But some of the big features is speed. Of course, the print quality always comes up to Epson standards. Even though it prints fast, it prints good too, okay? So it'll print good and fast. Also, the automated height adjustment feature, which we can discuss later on, is really a key benefit. Ink cost, because you're buying ink in bulk. Our ink comes in a 1.5 liter pouch. You're getting a great cost benefit from using bulk ink. You're only at $150 a liter. That's a very good price.
And more than double the amount of ink that you would have if anybody out there has an F2000 or an F2100. So that is a lot of ink. You can print a lot of shirts and without changing ink with that. But Matt, you know, we have hear a lot of folks out there in the industry back when we did trade shows, as we were joking about before, saying this printer is a commercial printer and this printer is an industrial printer. And you know, I wouldn't mind some definition of that, but would you classify the F3070 printer as an industrial direct-to-garment printer?
Yes. And, you know, at Epson, if you look at our different models that we have, like for instance, dye sublimation, we have different models that meet certain different needs. The same with DTG. The 3070 is an industrial printer. The 2100 is a commercial printer. Big differences. If you take and look at the printers, just size, speed, productivity, ink price, print heads, there's a lot of differences between an industrial and a commercial garment printer. I know some of our competition are out there trying to take their commercial based printers and make them an industrial printer, or just say, well, this is an industrial printer. They're really not. You really got to look and see why they think that they're an industrial printer.
So Matt, being an industrial printer, tell us how this impacts the productivity in you know, like a bigger shop.
Well, one of the things is there's a lot of more than just speed. There's a lot of throughput. Okay, so you've got to look at what your whole process is. Some of the things about this printer is it's got a lot faster download. So it's going to start printing even before the whole image is downloaded into the printer. So that's one thing. The other thing is the print head does not go back into its capping station. Like almost every other printer on the market, once you've printed a print and it's completed, it goes back to the capping station. Ours does not. It stays out. So it's ready to start printing on the next shirt. So that increases your productivity. Now it does go back in cap if you don't start to print after a certain amount of time. Also, the auto height adjustment. So people are asking a lot about that. To me, that's the greatest feature on this printer. What happens is, let's say that you are printing a t-shirt. Okay, so you print the t-shirt. The next thing is you're printing a hoodie. This machine will auto adjust the height of the print head to compensate for that difference between the t-shirt and the hoodie. So you don't have to stop and adjust the platen or what have you. Now, there are some cases where you're going to have to adjust the platen. Like, let's say if we were printing, we changed out to a sleeve platen or a hat platen or something like that. Yes, you will manually lower the platen. But in most cases, if you're just running production, you go from one shirt to a sweatshirt to something else, it's going to do the auto adjust for you. It's great. It saves a lot of time, a lot of effort.
You know, Matt, when you're talking about that, I don't think everybody appreciates the fact when you talk about the print head doesn't go back to the capping station, is that you take a shirt off this printer, throw it on the dryer on your heat press, load another shirt, hit the button, it's immediately starting to print. Whereas,
Yes.
yeah, whereas most direct-to-garment printers, you push that button and it stops and thinks for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. But in the scope of a day or a week, that's a lot more shirts you could print.
It's true. It is. And it's all about productivity. It's not just speed. There's a lot of more things that go into this printer. Just like, let's talk about print heads. So this print head right now is 2.6 inches wide. That's huge. So that is one of the reasons why it is so fast, and it prints the white and then the color. Now you can adjust your printing to either 600 by 600, 600 by 1200, or 1200 by 1200 DPI. So you're available, it has all that available in the software to do that. So it depends on how you want your garment to look, what kind of white underbase that you would like to have. So that is more productivity tools available to you. The other thing is, since Epson manufactures the print head, we make the print head, we're able to do things other manufacturers do not do. Like our nozzles are addressable, and we have nozzle out verification technology, which, let's say that you're printing and something unforeseen happens and you do have nozzles that are not printing, they're clogged or some debris gets on them, the printer will compensate for that. So in most cases, on most machines, if this happened, you would get a streak across the shirt. Not so with this printer. It automatically compensates that. It slows down the printing and will do like a double pass so that you don't ruin the shirt, and then it'll maintain itself. So that's another big thing available.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And the sheer number of nozzles makes it so if you have a couple of nozzles out, the naked eye is never going to see that.
16,000 nozzles available.
And Jay, I understand, counted each one, and that he has verified that information. So, Matt, let's talk a little bit more about print quality. How does the print quality compare with the F3070 and other printers out there in the marketplace?
If you're used to a 2100, just look at your highest print quality that you have on a 2100, and it will equal that on an F3070. We're using the same inks. So our same tried true ink that we've been using in the 2100, we're using that in the 3070. Why reinvent the wheel? To me, my personal opinion, it is the best ink on the market. Our white ink at Epson has a 2-year shelf life. Now you may say, well, I'm gonna use up all the ink in 2 years. So why does that matter? Well, here's why. Because it shows that our ink doesn't settle out. Settling out ink is the biggest issue in DTG, because when the ink settles out, it settles out in the lines, it settles out in your print heads, and guess what? That's what causes clogs. That's what kills print heads. That's what wastes your money having to clean the print head time and time again to get the clogs out. So with us having a 2-year shelf life, that shows a lot about our ink and how it stays in suspension. That's very important.
So Matt, somebody wouldn't really notice a huge difference between the F2100 a print and a print on this new F3070, right?
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, but as far now, we talked a little bit already about speed. So we were talking about how that 14 by 16 print we saw in Long Beach printed in about a minute. And what was the cost on that? We have somebody ask that question.
I will tell you, I don't know, but I will tell you this. On average, a print is going to use about 6 cc's of ink. And on the 3070, it's 15 cents a cc. So it's 6 times 15 is?
It's 90 cents.
Our big tagline on this printer is you can print a shirt in a minute for about $1 a shirt. So.
And you know, the example that our friend Tim Check there with Epson was printing out in California, that was a 14 by 16 print, right at a minute, right at $1. Our average, most printers out there are printing 10 by 12, so it's going to be a fraction of that. So the cost savings are really incredible. Hey, Matt, also speaking of when you talked about the print head being out, someone else, Ricardo, asked, with the print head not going back to the capping station, is that going to cause a risk of clogging?
No, it's because, like I said before, is we make the print heads, we make the ink, so we know what we can do and, you know, how long the print head can stay out there waiting. Now, if you wait more than a set amount of time, what it's going to do is it is going to return back to the capping station. Like, let's say you printed 3 shirts in a row and you got a phone call you had to go take, the machine's going to sit there for a while and then it's going to move back to the capping station.
Well,
so
you know,
it
Matt,
won't endanger anything.
Matt, when you talk about Epson being, well, the world's largest manufacturer of print heads, I think it's the example is really the F2100, where you can turn that printer off, come back 2 weeks later, turn it back on and start printing shirts again. And we've certainly done that in our facility more than once, just to test it. So I think that tells you a little bit about the lack of clogging, where other printers on the market, you have to run them 24 hours a day. And what's it doing 24 hours a day? Spit ink to keep that print head open. So
it's true.
Well,
one thing Jeff was asking too about, how does this compare to the 2100?
Right.
You know, what I'm telling most people, if you're getting ready to buy your third 2100, you should really take a hard look at the 3070. Okay. Because 3, you're starting to spend about, you know, if you look at it, the same money, but you're able to get a better ink price with the 3070. You're going to be more productive. One person's going to be able to run a 3070, where 3 2100s, you possibly could have one person, you know, running 3, but it's going to be a little more difficult. So once you get to 3, you should start looking to move to the 3070, plus all the other benefits of, you know, the automatic height adjustment, the faster download speed. There's a lot more available as far as your ink pricing. You're going to get a less maintenance in certain cases. So that's what you should look at overall. You're maintaining one machine versus 3.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, before Jeff jumps in with another question, I wanted to point something out where you said if somebody has 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 F2000s or F2100s, I did want to point out that any of those Platens that you have, and you're looking at that F2100 and you have a youth Platen, and you've got a sleeve Platen, and you've got a cap Platen, you've got all these extra Platens, those are all interchangeable with the F3070.
Yes, they are.
I think that's an important point. And
yeah, it is.
I think it's commendable because, you know, a lot of companies out there, when they come out with a new printer, it's a new ink system, it's new Platens, it's new everything. And it's awesome that Epson makes all of these kind of modular interchangeable parts.
Yeah. And even the new Platens that came out for the 3070 with the hanger Platen, you can purchase that and use that on your 2100 if you would like.
Exactly.
Hey, Matt, you talked a little bit about if you have a second or third F2100 and you're looking to add another one, you should seriously consider the F3070. Who are some of the other candidates that we should be looking at for this printer? Like
anybody that, yeah, I would say right now the main market for this is screen printers. And let's look at how the industry has changed since COVID. You know, I'm an old screen printer. Terry is too. So we know the industry
It's
very
veteran.
Very
the term
well.
is veteran screen printer.
Oh, I thought it was OD. We were old dogs. So anyway, the industry's changed. People are not, you know, having big events that they need lots of shirts for. Most of the businesses now on 1 to 20 units, okay, which DTG is great for that. Also, if you look at the 3070 at its ink cost, its productivity, you know, it would be a hard decision now whether to buy a small automated screen press or buy the 3070. I would say, in my opinion, not just working here at Epson, but being, as Terry says, an industry veteran, I would advise you to buy the 3070. That
Yeah.
is where the market is going. The market is going digital.
Yeah, the market's going there. The graphics are there. And, you know, if you're new and you're looking to get into printing shirts and you're thinking about screen printing, there's a lot larger learning curve there than learning to digital print.
Yes, it's true.
Well, you know, I teach screen printing classes as well, and I tell my students in those classes, listen, when you go home from this 2-day event, Monday morning, you can be printing shirts. But to become an expert in screen printing, it's going to take you probably 3 years because there's so many variables in screen printing. You know, screen mesh and puff inks and gel inks and angles and pressure and all those types of things. With direct to garment printing, you can get the same results, but the technology, the process is exactly the same, shirt after shirt. So, you know, I feel like people can become really expert as long as they have the art right within 30 to 90 days in direct to garment.
I agree with you 100%. And that's the way it's going to go. I mean, there's going to be more and more digital. Now, screen print's never going away.
Right.
But digital's going to take a bigger bite out of the pie.
Hey, Matt, on the installation, we recently did an installation in Oklahoma City, and I was lucky enough to be able to go out there and watch it be done. What can you tell us about how Epson is handling the rollout and the installation of this printer?
Well, the way that we're doing it to start, because, you know, COVID's impacted a lot of things, okay? And so what we've done is we are actually using our white glove service. So we will have someone deliver the printer to wherever you specify it. So they're not going to just drop it on your dock or sit it by your front doorstep. We're actually going to take the printer, bring it inside to the room that you want to have it set up. So Epson's going to be able to do that for you. Also, we're going to have one of our factory trained technicians come out and do the install to teach you how to run the machine and go through it with you.
Yeah, and when they do come out, I guess one of the critical things is that they have a room and a facility that you can get it into, right?
Right.
So for people who are looking to purchase this, we have them do a site survey beforehand to make sure that you're not going to show up, you know, Epson's not going to show up to bring this in and there's no possible way to get it in. We're going to verify all that information first.
Yeah, we're going to know that before. Okay. Now, another thing that someone just asked that I wanted to make sure we discussed is dealing with Epson right now. And I don't know of any of our competitors that are doing this. When you purchase a DTG printer from Epson, you can get up to 5 years of coverage on that printer, on service coverage. It's called our extended service agreement. Now that's available on the 3070. That's available on the 2100. That's a big deal. So if you're investing this much money into a printer, you want to know that it's covered. I have people come up all the time and they're like, well, these guys are only offering a 1-year warranty. What do I do in a year? Throw the printer away? No, you've made this in big investments. You want to know that it's going to be around and operating the way that it operated when you purchased it. So Epson is offering up to 5 years coverage. And anybody that's hearing this webinar that has a 2100, if you're under a service agreement now, you can extend that service agreement up to the 5 years as total. So if you only are on it second year, you can extend another 3 years and have 5 years of coverage. That's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, that's a really important point, Matt. And I don't think very many people yet know that since, you know, again, we're not doing trade shows and out there spreading the gospel of DTG. So excellent point that if you're covered right now, you can go 5 years. And that's awesome that Epson has that kind of confidence in both these machines.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a big deal. At Epson, we are so confident in the machine because we make most of the components. You know, we are the manufacturer of the print head. We are the manufacturer of the ink. We do make the chips that are in the machine. A lot of guys just hack things together or buy things here from one manufacturer and another. They really can't control everything. We can. And that's why we're offering up to 5 years service agreement.
Hey,
Hey,
Matt.
Matt, what can you tell us that's different? Sorry about that, Terry. You mentioned that Epson makes the print head. It's different under the F3070 as far as replacing that, right?
Well, you have two opportunities. You have two ways to go on the 3070. We're going to let you choose what you want. So you have one service agreement where we take care of everything. If anything happens to the printer, print head, whatever, we come out and we service it and we take care of it. And again, just so everybody knows, with Epson, you don't send the printer back to the factory. You don't have to go online and try to get some guy to help you that has another printer. What we do is we have our own technicians that are factory trained that take care of you. And right in our service agreement, it states that we're going to try to resolve your issue within 48 hours. And most of the time, if you do have an issue that a technician has to come out, he's usually there the next day, which is a big deal. Okay.
Well, you know, Matt, and along those lines, there aren't very many companies that actually send technicians out, first of all. So if you're shopping, make sure you look at that. And as far as I know, the best guarantee of having a technician there from anybody else is we will be there within a reasonable time. Now, a reasonable time for a technician and a reasonable time for someone whose machine is down is probably a different amount of time, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why we state, if you look at our extended service agreements on the 3070, we state in there how long we expect a print head to last. We state in there that we're going to have a 48 hour, that we're going to try to take care of you within that 48 hours. We put it in writing, you know. So if somebody tells you something, I always say, look, get it in writing. Epson already does that. You don't have to guess.
Exactly.
And all this is transparent, Terry. By the way, if anybody wants to look at these service agreements, you can go to Epson.com, F3070, go to downloads. You can look at any of this. Also, you can download the garment creator software. So anybody out there that's asking, hey, how much does this cost to print on the 3070? You can go to Epson.com/F3070, go to downloads, download garment creator, and then you can bring in your files. You set up the cost calculator. It'll tell you how much it's going to cost to print. I would recommend everybody do that before they look at any printer.
No, absolutely agree with you. Hey, Matt, let me jump back. You were talking about the Epson manufacturing inks. What else do we need to know about this new bulk ink system for the F3070?
What I like about it is it has 2 bags of white, which are 1.5 liters each, and then 1.5 liters of CMYK. It also has a cleaning fluid in there also. There you go. It has the ink pack. It sucks almost every little bit of ink out of the ink pack. So you don't have any waste there. You know how you always get a cartridge, it has a little bit of ink. This sucks every little bit out. Also, we have the OECO-Tech passport on this ink, just like we did on the 2100 ink. Now that states that the ink is safe to use on children 13 years of age and younger, which is a big deal. You know, in the screen print industry, we had some changes a few years ago. We got rid of the phthalates and things like that in plastisol ink. Well, when you get an Okitech passport, it's going to state, and you're going to have something that's a document that says this ink is safe. So that is a big deal.
And you know, that's really critical, and I think something that people don't necessarily think about. And it's not only the ink, but it's the pre-treat as well. And Matt, I'm sure you know this, and I'm sure that there are other customers out there. But we at Equipment Zone, we have a few clients. All they do is infant apparel, and it being totally safe was question number one from those folks.
Mm-hmm. That's very important. That's something you got to look at now.
Sure.
When you're out looking at other people, what kind of certifications do they have? You know, we have the Ecotech certification to make sure it's safe. We also have the AATCC certification to make sure it's durable. Now, that is the American Association of Textile Colorists and Chemists. And what they do is we'll send them a printed shirt to their labs. They'll cut it in half. They'll take one half and set it aside. The other half they'll put into a laundry machine with these big steel balls, and they'll abrade it. Now that's equal to 20 wash cycles, okay? So after they finished the wash cycle, they'll bring it back, put it together with a control, and they'll measure it. And they'll give a ranking between 0 and 5. 5 is the best. We get a 5. Plastisol ink is a 5. Water-based screen printing ink is a 5. That's really important. So when you buy an Epson printer and you use genuine Epson ink and pre-treat, you're going to get the safety consideration and the durability consideration.
Well, and let's not forget all those folks out there that are printing face masks with these printers, and guess what? You're breathing through it, so you want it to be safe ink.
Exactly, you do. Very
Hey,
much so.
Matt, let me jump in here real quick, and I want to answer a question or two from some of our viewers. One is, this is from Michael. Is there an extra cost for the install, and what maintenance is required? So let's start with the first one. So the extra cost, we talked about that white glove service.
Yes.
So that includes delivery, bringing it into your location, setting it up, and the training, right?
Right. Yes. So there is an extra fee for that, around $4,300 for that service. You know, this is a big piece of equipment. Again, this is an industrial printer. It won't fit through your standard size door. This printer weighs a lot. Whenever we have the people come to install it and deliver it, there's going to be at least 3 people that will show up to install that.
You know, Matt, and for all those folks who call regularly, if you're listening now, it is not going to fit around the corner and down your basement steps. I'll just tell you now.
No, will not do it.
Yeah,
it will not do it. We've had customers already have to cut and put in big double doors. We have a guy replacing, having to put in a garage door that he didn't before. So this is a big printer.
Yeah. And besides the installation and the training that you would have to pay for, you talked about the different service plan options, and there's 4 of those. So your final price could vary depending on which option you choose.
Yeah, it just depends on what option that you want to do. You know, I would just right off the bat go for the 5-year option, especially if you're leasing a machine. Why not do it? You know,
Yeah,
why not do it?
We at Equipment Zone can go through any of these options with you.
Yeah, I would recommend you call Equipment Zone, can go through and tell you about each plan.
Michael's other question was about maintenance. I think this is a really good one that we haven't touched on yet. What's the type of maintenance somebody would have to do on this printer?
This machine, it just depends on how much that you use it. Quite the opposite of a lot of machines is the more you use this machine, the less maintenance that is required. This machine likes to run, okay? You know, weekly you're gonna take and you're gonna wipe, you know, around the print head, you're gonna wipe the caps. This also has our unique fiber, our wiper system in it that actually cleans the print heads. So just like the 2100, it has the cassette that actually keeps the print heads clean. You know, a lot of our competition, the way that they clean the print head is like a rubber squeegee, like you use on, you know, your when you're cleaning your windows, or like you're cleaning your car windows. So imagine if you cleaned your car windows with the same rubber squeegee all the time. You never put it in the bucket, you never wiped it off, you just kept using that. Well, that's what a lot of our competitors do to clean your print heads. Sometimes that rubber squeegee puts more junk back on the print head than what it takes off. Right. So at Epson, we came up with a system when we came out with the 2000, almost 7 years ago, that works so well that we've actually included some of our other equipment now too. But what it is, it's a roll mechanism that actually has a fabric wiper on it, and it rolls and actually cleans the print head and keeps it clean. And then it advances to another clean sheet. So you're never using a dirty sheet or anything that's already been contaminated to clean the print head again. It really helps with print head life. And that's what you want in DTG. You want a print head that's clean and lasts a long time.
So Matt, that's a consumable that needs to be replaced every so often, right?
Yeah, I think Jay might even have a slide on that. Maybe not.
Jeff, do we have any more questions from our viewers?
Yeah, somebody asked if there's technical support available on the weekends or after hours.
Well, our support, obviously, at Equipment Zone is from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Eastern time. But with us, you know, you can always send an email to support@equipmentzone.com. And if you say, hey, I'm down and I'm trying to get 500 shirts out the door, you're probably going to hear from someone.
Yeah, the beauty is when you know, Epson doesn't sell these products directly. We sell them through a dealer network. And the beauty with dealing with Equipment Zone is you've got people there that are experts that have been in this industry for a long time that can answer your support questions. So they're our first line of defense. And then you always have Epson. Our name is on the printer. So we do offer support also. You can call our 800 line. And like I said, if we cannot resolve your technical issue with the printer, we can send out a technician. So look at it that you'll call Terry if you need to know, hey, I'm doing a tri-blend shirt. I want to know how much pre-treat to put on it. That's a great Equipment Zone question, right? Mm-hmm. Or I want to know how to tweak my artwork so I can get the best colors. That's a great Equipment Zone question. But if anything ever technical happens to the printer, then you call Epson.
And Epson's support hours are Monday through Friday, I believe 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, correct?
Right,
Matt?
right. Yeah.
So you've got a big window there. Equipment Zone Eastern time, except for Jeff and I, who are in Phoenix, Arizona. But then Epson support is Pacific time. So.
Hey, we got a question about, and it seems like we get this question in almost every webinar or every conversation. Does this printer print on 100% polyester shirts? And the answer to that is the same as it is with the 2100 and every directed garment printer. We've covered this quite a bit. You know, printing on 100% polyester is all dependent upon how you prepare that shirt with pre-treat and your curing process. It can be done. It's a lengthy process. It's not something that we would really consider production friendly, especially when you're buying a printer at this size and speed for fast production. Would you agree, Matt?
I agree. And, you know, I have people like the other day, I had a customer call me. He's like, I want to print tennis shoes. And I'm looking at the 3070. Well, you know, here's the thing. Most salespeople will tell you, oh, yeah, this works great. And they'll sell it to you. And the 3070 does print. It does print tennis shoes great. But I would tell you that's more of a 2100 type application, because it takes you such a long time to platen a tennis shoe, make sure it's all set up. it's just a longer process. You're better off printing it on the 2100. The same with printing polyester shirts. It doesn't matter either way. Either machine will print them, but I do think that you're better off with a 2100 if you're looking for those specialty type of applications or printing hats, things like that.
And in the end, with all direct-to-garment printers, 100% cotton, high cotton content blends are your absolute best substrate. Can you make printers? I mean, could I print a phone case? I could. Should I? No, because there are better ways to do it. So, you know, I think the best advice is use this printer, use any type of decoration method for its intended purpose, and you're going to have the greatest success.
I agree.
Hey, we got a great question here about workflow and software, Matt. Mike is asking us about automation and how does Epson handle that? You know, a lot of large companies are looking for barcode scanning. And is Garment Creator still available? We talked about Garment Creator a little bit already.
So Garment Creator comes with the new 3070. It has more features, and we've also going to give you, if you're interested in this, a software developer kit with the 3070. A lot of our larger customers require this because they can integrate it into their existing workflow when they have the software developer kit. So you should, if you developed it on your own, if this is your own development, then the software developer kit can definitely help you. If not, barcoding is available for the 3070. I know of at least 3 different companies now that have that available. So, you know, just check around. You know, we don't endorse any one software that way, but there are different companies available.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah, some of these other questions that are specific about pricing, we can reach out and contact you after the webinar. And then Tamara, just this one last question. She asked, how well does it work on tri-blends? Well, just like the 2100, it's the same ink and same preparation. So it works fantastic. In fact, I prefer wearing tri-blends. We have them
here.
And we can talk to you individually more about that.
Yeah, I'm going to refer back to the trade shows we used to do. We were across the aisle at the Long Beach Impressions Expo in January, and we were across the aisle from All Made Apparel, and which is, you know, they pride themselves on their tri-blend, and every shirt that they were displaying in their booth was printed in our booth, and they printed just fabulously. They looked awesome. So yeah, that's a great product to print on. Again, anytime you're getting a new garment, you need to experiment, do some testing first, and testing includes not only printing it but wash testing as well.
Yes.
So Matt, as we're getting close on time here, for people who have serious interest, and the first thing we do, by the way, for everybody listening, is we'll send you the site survey that says, here are the requirements for housing and getting this machine into your facility. But how do people go about getting samples or demonstrations right now?
So if you're interested in samples or demos, please contact Equipment Zone. They can provide you with samples. And if you would like a virtual demonstration, if you qualify for that, Equipment Zone can set that up for you to take a look at the machine printing your files.
Exactly.
And Matt, you know, final question here. Are these available to ship?
Right now, they are. We do have some machines in inventory right now. That changes from week to week. But you know, Black Friday's coming. So if you're interested in a machine, I would definitely take a look at it now.
Well, I will tell you, I have a client who ordered his machine at the end of last week, and he's getting trained on it on Monday. So, so wheels are turning. Matt, any last comments before we wrap up?
No, I just you know, if anybody wants more information, please contact Equipment Zone. You know, they can help you out. Like I said, they can provide samples. They can set up a virtual demo and answer any of your sales related questions.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Matt, for joining us today. We really appreciate that every time you come on webinars with us. So for Jeff Morgenthaler and myself, Terry Combs, we appreciate all of you joining us today. For more information and on this or any of our other webinars, go to equipmentzone.com and please reach out to our sales staff with any questions you might have. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.